before he came to our town, to Toronto, we had a phone call from Robert Plant. I think he was in Boston. And he was in a kind of a strange mood, so it was a bit of a strange conversation, but in many ways, an enlightening one, and you'll find out why when you listen to it. The first thing we talked about was the departure from his band this year of the sort of new Canadian connection in his band, the guy that helped him make Fate of Nations, guy from Halifax. He was in a band called Cutting Crew by the name of Kevin McMichael, guitar player. And when the album was released, Plant said this guy was as much responsible for the album as Plant himself was. He said he was a great inspiration, but ultimately he's not in the band anymore.
I mean, he played some great stuff on the album, and we're all really good friends, but when we came to playing live, he's filigree. He's really, he's got an incredible pedigree as a player, and sensational contributor in the studio, but I wanted something a bit more sort of fiery live, and a bit more dynamic and aggressive and explosive and confrontational, something like, A Good Night on Balmoral Avenue.
We got to ask you about this quote that we read a couple of weeks ago, which said, you were quoted as saying that you couldn't sing Stairway to Heaven without a truckload of Pepto-Bismol.
Uh-huh.
Was that an accurate quote?
It's either Pepto-Bismol or there's a new product out there. It's called Schmaltz.
Schmaltz.
Yeah.
So
it's getting a bit like Dean Martin. Before I know where I am, I'll be singing You Can't Hurry Love. And I think, I can't do it anymore. I can't keep a straight face.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the other thing that we read in these same trade magazines, and also
listen, trade magazines are run by middle-aged guys who can't get a hard-on. And they kind of generally pepper their columns with all sorts of trash to just keep everybody interested. What we really need to know is whether or not P.J. Harvey is married. I mean, these are the important things.
All right, so tell us, is P.J. Harvey, you're obsessed with singer P.J. Harvey from England?
I don't know whether she is, I'm asking you.
Is she married?
I don't think she is. I don't.
If you read all these magazines, and you guys, if I may say Canadians, and also your brethren south of the parallel, you tend to believe everything you read. There's some fat old bastard in New York going, how are we going to fill column 6, page 73? Alice Cooper's playing golf. Bon Jovi's got a new hairstyle. Bono's on a diet. So Plant and Page must, this week.
Led Zeppelin's going to reunite for MTV Unplugged.
There's not enough Pepto-Bismol.
so that...
I'm taking to eating flowers now,
So it's not true?
No, not today.
Oh, here we go.
Well, what do you want?
Well, so what, maybe tomorrow?
That was a record by Billy Fury in 1968.
It was a good one, too.
Oh, you're fly, man.
You are.
I've been up hours.
How many, a couple?
No, I've been up ages. She's gone back to some place to 10 bar this afternoon. I tell you what, you know what? Let me tell you something. You would be astonished. I know that people say, oh, well, plant this and plant that. And my solo work has always purposely been exactly what I want to do for me. Not to please the people who just heard Motley Crue. Because the people who heard Motley Crue love Black Dog and they love Kashmir, and hopefully, but I do what I want to do, and what I want to do is the only way that I can maintain any sort of state of mind and pride and equilibrium. And so this time when I come through, I'm going to burn the paint off the building, because this band is like a controlled electrical storm, and it's really, really, really powerful, and it's really good fun, and it pays dividends in flowers and opportunities that might not normally come along for a guy who's been around as long as me. It's great audience reaction, and the thing is really, really hot. It's a departure again from Fate of Nations, and that's something I'm really proud of. I got a lot of the time there's 3 guitars churning away, and it's not like anything that came through before was my name on it. Now, Fate of Nations has been received in typical AOR rock radio form by playing the obvious cuts that are half appealing to radio, and leaving songs like Memory Song and Coming to My Life in the boondocks, which is a bit of a drag, really, because...
Yeah, but the record companies is responsible for that as radio, as you know that.
True, but I was talking to Paige last night about... I was thinking to myself, if we'd have, in 1969, been left with only like the 2 or 3 songs are kind of classically associated with Zepp on each album, then there would be no depth to the Led Zeppelin legacy at all. Because it's stuff like Going to California and Black Country Woman, or The Battle of Evermore, or Night Flight. It's the kind of other side of it. It's the many other sides of the coin that makes the whole personality of a musician important, or not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a drag, really, that great albums come and go, not specifically Fate of Nations, but a lot of people around whose albums you go out and you get and you go, God, I've never realized this was so good. Because if you're left only to be sold it by what you hear on radio, you never actually get into the mind of the person who's making the record. I think that's a bit of a drag, really, because bands who created a huge reputation in the 70s, early 70s, were able to have radio play a much more broader spectrum of music from their records. Therefore, the audience was much more trippy and much more into this kind of whole, variety of music coming from one artist, so that the concerts, therefore, wouldn't be so obvious. So, therefore, the artist could expand, and you don't just have to make such basic music. Now, maybe now, in the 90s, with bands caring a lot less about the kind of poodle rock image, the kind of Motley Crue sort of Poison thing having finally been put to bed, more or less. Maybe we've got a chance for the music to spread out a bit, with Blind Melon and people like that opening it up. And maybe the music will have a bit more content. But it needs radio. You see, a lot of people, I've been through a lot of these towns now. I've done like 87 shows in 16 countries so far since May. And in America, and I'm finding in Canada, a lot of the kids that I talk to are turning away from the standard rock radio because they're fed up of hearing the obvious format choice of songs. And I mean, Q107 is quite a famous station, without a doubt. And you're obviously aware that Pepsi Cola or whoever, your subscribers or whatever, the whole thing is like a game within a game. But kids are turning more and more to radio stations that give them the variety that was around in 1969, when you could hear Arab shit and Indian stuff and blues, Muddy Waters, and then you're treating people as if they got a mind and some intelligence rather than giving them 14 songs to choose from every 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your job. And here ends a plant lecture.
Well, let me ask you this. I personally happen to think that Fate of Nations is a very good record, and I really enjoyed it. But the fact is, as you have sort of suggested, a lot of people have missed it. They may have only heard 29 Palms or Calling to You, and they didn't discover the rest of the record. And, what do you do about this at this point? You're making these records, and the fact is, I think a lot of people aren't hearing them that would probably enjoy them.
I know.
So what do you do beyond playing the regular game that you've been playing all these years?
Well, the answer really is...
And also faced with the fact that a lot of people are just going, they hear the name Robert Plant, and they go, oh, cool, I'll go see him, and he'll play some Zeppelin. That'll be great. That's what I want to see.
Well, that's
and
right.
you so often say stuff, and you're so tongue-in-cheek about Zeppelin, and you're always kind of slagging it off. It's as if you're kind of, you're tired of it or something.
Well, no, I'm tired of it being one of the few gambits of conversation that I can have with perfect strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure that I can tell you about all sorts of stuff, but that's in a 3-minute interview. That's not important. What is important to you is to get as many cliches and pop in little sort of things about, well, here comes Plant, let's talk about Page.
No, we don't want cliches. We want revelations.
That's
we want
right.
hard facts that you're going to be doing an MTV Unplugged with Page in January.
Well, I tell you what, you better suck your cheeks in real hard and take a deep breath, boys. I tell you what the question was, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to keep on doing exactly what I want to do.
And do you think that you can do that indefinitely if the record sales don't keep up?
Yep.
You can.
Absolutely.
Well, how is that?
Because I can convince somebody somewhere it's the right idea. To me, it continues to give me some dignity. I can say tongue-in-cheek, and I don't slag off Zeppelin. I just slag off the whole idea of the sensationalist element. Because when Page and I spend so much time in the brothels in India chewing the cud and saying, we haven't made a pop song yet. And yeah, all these years later, it's like, oh, we are not worthy. It's so funny. I find it very funny.
But let me just ask you this one last thing, okay? Because I think a lot of people felt that with the record that he released this year, that Jimmy Page played some of the best guitar he's played in a long time.
I
And he
couldn't agree more, yeah.
did some really creative stuff. Wouldn't you like to do some stuff with him again?
Well, here's the plan. Ready? Hello?
I've got my notes. Yes,
Okay.
we're taking notes here.
I thought there was a bit of dead air there. We don't want that. Just shut it quick.
Only dead heads.
Yeah. Oh, yes, there's plenty of them. Yeah, you're probably right.
So what's the plan?
That wasn't the plan, Robert.
The plan is to let this girl out of the bathroom as quick as possible.
Dude, we need details.
Oh, don't be so soft. If I start giving you details, then it all becomes so serious that I can't have some fun.
Well, this is true. Fun is what it's all about. But you know, let us know what happens, would you?
Okay.
Give us a call.
Hey, look, but Nick, well, you know, if any of you make it down to the show, bring your PJ Harvey lyrics with you
Okay.
so that we can commit acts of gross indecency backstage.
Can we bring PJ Harvey with us?
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
In
would.
PJs. Well, hey, what about Nigel Kennedy, your pal, the violin player, played on Calling to You?
Yeah.
Gonna play some more with him?
I hope so, yeah.
Wicked player.
Yeah, there's a guy called Jazz Coleman he's Persian, and he's lived in Egypt for a long time, and we've got some connections with him too. There's some great people around. Have you heard of Richard Thompson?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Played up on this show one night, live, as a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
great. What a great player. I mean,
Which you're
he's
welcome to do
really-
anytime, by the way.
And I think PJ on backing vocals, and we all wear incontinent pants and springbok around the studio. It'll be great.
Incontinent pants? Now,
Oh, God, I haven't done an interview like this for years.
tour sponsorship by Depend.